Well, good evening, y'all. OG Duchess here. Welcome back to another episode of Saints and Sinners. I appreciate you guys joining me. I missed you guys yesterday, but I'm back today. So, welcome in, welcome in. Y'all get comfortable, make yourself at home. If you want to pour yourself a glass of sweet tea, fix yourself a cup of coffee, make sure that you grab whatever helps you settle in for this scandalous Southern update because we are on episode 6. And while everybody's finding their seat, y'all go ahead and like this live and share it out. Invite your friends, your neighbors, your cousins. And yes, even that one person who says that they don't like gossip because bless their heart, they're probably already watching. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Can y'all hear me okay? Let me know in the chat. I had to move my camera around. Y'all doing good? Can y'all hear me okay? I'll wait for y'all to respond. Everybody good? Y'all clocking in? All right, thanks, babe. All right, now listen. Y'all know around here in South Carolina, we know a little bit about Southern hospitality. We wave when we pass you on the road. We hold the door open and we always ask about your mama. And if you stay long enough, somebody's probably going to try to feed you too. But there's also one other thing about living in the South. Here in coastal South Carolina, we also know that behind some of the prettiest gates, underneath those moss-covered live oaks, and beyond those Sunday morning pews, well, there can be another story. Sometimes rumors at the beauty salon actually turn out to be true. So you just got to buckle up and search for the truth. And it might end up coming from a courthouse docket, an old lawsuit, maybe an old arrest, or even a FOIA. So it might be a document that somebody probably never expected half of Georgetown County to sit down and read together on a Tuesday night. But that's what we're fixing to do. And honey, let me tell you something. Tonight, we brought more receipts. There was another lawsuit that was filed on Friday. So we're going to be starting tonight with lawsuit number 7. Number 7. Let that sink in. I mean, at this point, we're not just looking at an isolated court filing. We're following a paper trail carefully. And tonight, we're going to examine what particular lawsuit the allegations are, what the court records actually show. And then we're going inside another stack of documents. I have select FOIA records from the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office, and we're going to read them the way that we've handled this entire case, separating what is documented from what is alleged. And we're going to be paying attention to the details, asking questions where the records leave questions to be asked. And we're also going to track back to Pawleys Island Christian Academy. Remember, there is a school inside of that church. And just today, news broke of an update regarding that school is going to be closing. So we need to discuss. So now y'all know my rule. No fighting in chat. All opinions are welcome. No doxing or hate speech. We don't turn rumors into facts, and we don't turn allegations into convictions, and we don't fill in the blanks just because it makes the story better. If it's documented, I'll show you. If it's alleged, I'll tell you that it's alleged. And if there's something that we simply don't know yet, well, then we'll just have to continue to look at this case until we have the answers. Because down here in South Carolina, stories have a way of traveling faster than a summer thunderstorm. But the truth, well, you know how the truth works. Sometimes you've got to slow it down. You got to pull up a chair, and you just got to spread those papers across your kitchen table, and you got to line it up. You got to look at the timeline. You got to make it make sense. You got to follow it one page at a time. So I just want to welcome everybody in, all of the mods, all the subscribers. I see you guys in the chat. Make sure that you like this live, share it out, get comfortable. And also one little housekeeping detail before we get started, remember to adjust your ear pods. And if you're listening and you have children in the background, this is probably not the stream for them. But if you're wearing earpods, you might want to adjust them now because we are going to take the Dutch bus and roll into the intro. And I'll see you guys on the other side in the 843 lounge. And we are going to get into it. So I appreciate you guys being here tonight and joining me so that we can talk about this case. So I'll see you here in just a minute.
I'm Southern lady, and that's the truth. Once you meet me, you'll see the proof. Mud on the tires when I roll through. Got a sweet smile and still in my boots. Bible on the dash while I take that drive. Raise my hand high when I testify. You see my dress, then you see my grin. Think I'm all grace, let the fun begin. Don't get it twisted, I'm still the one you missed it. I smile pretty, but I can be mean. Cold as a creek, hot as kerosene. Bless your heart, I'll bless your heart and tear it apart. Spin 'em round, sit 'em on down. Double fisted, wound for sound. Holy woman, little bit hood. You might think I won't, bet that I could. You can bet I would. Sunday morning, I'm front row chill. Friday night, I'm a little more thrill. Stomping boots on a wide dance floor. I'm fire and rain, you don't need much more. I keep my peace, but I keep my edge. I keep my vows like a line I pledge. Mean what I say, don't think twice. Don't mince words, sharp as a knife. Don't get it twisted, I'm still the one you missed it. I pray you'll see I'm no fool. I can be kind, don't wanna be cruel. Bless your heart, I'll bless your heart and tear it apart. Sit 'em down, spin 'em on down. Double fisted, wound for sound. Holy woman, little bit hood. You might think I won't, bet that I could. You can bet I would. I can shout amen and raise hell too. Heard all your lies, now I see through you. I'm a lady and I got class. Don't play with me or watch your ass. Bless your heart, I'll bless your heart and tear it apart. Throw 'em round, sit 'em down. Double fisted, wound for sound. Holy woman, little bit hood. You might think I won't, bet that I could. You can bet I would.
Yeah. Welcome to the Dutch Girl Podcast. Dutch bus rolling, we move fast. 843 lounge, clock in. We talk cases, so let's begin. Local dockets, we read the files. Lawsuits stacked up for miles. Courtroom notes with pen in hand. Timelines ready on demand.
When the story starts to trend, the truth will spill in the end.
What happened? Who said what? Line by line, cut by cut. Pull up a seat,
Clock in, get your notepads and pens.
843 lounge.
Check in, we'll see the case to the end.
Pull up a seat.
Clock in, time to ride, drop in.
Real talk, real cases.
843 lounge, let's begin.
Yeah. We cover the files, pull all the names. We share receipts, we track the claims. Case updates on a nightly run. The Dutch bus rides with the setting sun. Every town got a story to tell. Every docket is a story of hell. We analyze and discuss the facts. We're focused in, no turning back.
If a crowd gets loud outside, we stay calm and dignified.
We stay consistent, we stay true. We know the boundaries and so do you. From streets to the courtroom mots, we do our best to connect the dots. Locals talk, but we bring the proof. What matters most is the cold, hard truth. Pull up a seat,
Clock in, get your notepads and pens.
843 lounge.
Check in, we'll see the case to the end.
Pull up a seat,
Clock in, time to ride, drop in.
real talk, real cases.
843 loud, let's begin.
Hey, y'all. Hey. How's everybody doing tonight? I appreciate y'all joining me. Hang on a second. I need to fix my camera. Hold on. Hold, please. All right. How's everybody doing? Let me adjust my music here, because it is kind of loud. And I want y'all to be able to hear me. But also, I want to make sure Elizabeth Lander is in the building, because Elizabeth thinks that I'm whispering to her in my song, which I am. So I wanted to make sure Elizabeth was listening. Yeah, it really does say that. How's everybody doing? It's good to see you, Cindy. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's always good to see you. Saw some other familiar faces. Hannah popped in. She said she was late, but really, Hannah, you were not late. We're just doing our little intro. Hey, Mustang, it's always good to see you. Hey, Aunt Kathy. You need to come and see me, Aunt Kathy. I'll make you some bread and send you home with a loaf of bread. Hope you're doing good. I see Elizabeth L up here, so I know she's listening. She's probably taking care of her kitty cats. Hey, Nature Rocks, it's always good to see you. How you being, lovely? Appreciate you coming over to listen to our case. Hey, Trixie, you been doing okay? Been thinking about you. Hope all is well. Hope all my mods are good. I appreciate y'all being here. We got the Duke. He was up here. My camera was messing up, and I was like, babe, I need you to come help me. I had to hop in the shower because I was sweaty and I had to cook dinner, and so my hair is still kind of wet. So y'all just ignore me, because I'm just trying to pull it all together. I had to go out of town for Mama yesterday and take care of all of that with her appointments. And I've been on the phone most of the day with her appointments. So just trying to get things taken care of for her. Hey, Mercedes girl, it's good to see you. Mercedes, y'all, if you don't know Mercedes girl, she is always so sweet in chat. And it's always good to see you. I hope you're doing good. These streets is burning down, y'all. Protect yourself. Wear your helmets. And probably carry some holy water. I don't know. I'm just gonna listen. Look, the Duke fixed my chair. Y'all can y'all hear it? You can't, because the Duke fixed it. He put those, Duke, what did you put on it? Are you still in chat? He put like these I don't know, these bumpers on it so that it don't squeaky squeak when I lean back in my chair. Oh, I'm on your TV? Elizabeth Lander, are you in the building? As John QQ says. I can't really do John QQ's voice, though, but, you know, I'm giving it my best shot. Yeah, we need full body armor walking in the YouTube streets. Yes. Be prepared if you go into the chats, because who knows what's going to happen. I don't have words. There's nothing I can really say. So I've had people ask me all day long, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I'm just over here doing my own thing. Hang on. The volume was low for you last time? I thought we got that adjusted. Hang on. Let me check my mic. Yeah, I think everything should be good on the mic. Is my sound clear? Is it better than it was last time? Can you guys hear me okay? How is the sound? Let me know. It looks like I'm on 100 for my mic. Y'all give me some feedback before we get started. I'll just better check my settings. It's great today. Good. Good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mom just went into hospice at home and she's doing really well. The nurses have been wonderful. We got all of her paperwork and everything done. And so hopefully Mama's going to be coming back next week. And we're trying to coordinate with a hospice here locally so that Mom can still come and stay with me for a couple weeks at a time because she likes being here at the beach. So it's just really about keeping her comfortable. But she's doing good. She has her days. Today was a tough one, but she's doing better. And I have read her all of your kind messages, your comments, people that send me text messages and emails asking about her. I have read them all to her, and she wanted me to tell you guys that she really appreciates y'all. It really means a lot to her. So I do thank you so much. Yes, it is really bad. They really are. And if you don't see me around, it's because me and hubby are probably watching TV and doing our own thing. I got to focus on other things that I got going on. So, yeah, I think the ocean air is good for her. And she enjoys it. She enjoys being down here. So she called me today and asked me if I would come and get her. But she has a couple more appointments that she has to go to this week. And we're trying to get some medications adjusted. So as soon as we're able to get all of that situated, then I'm going to go pick her up. But I appreciate y'all joining me for episode 6. I just wanted to catch up with you for a little bit to let you know why we didn't have a stream yesterday, because I had my hands full running all the places. But I do appreciate you guys joining me to talk about this. So let's hop right into it. I'm going to take this comment off the screen. Let's go over here, because when I got up today, this is the first thing that I saw this morning when I got up. So I'm going to share my screen so we can just go ahead and get this part out of the way, because I think it's critical to all of the things that have been happening. I saw this news article. So let me share my screen. And I got to make sure it pushes me over here to the side. Ah, there I am. Okay. Aunt Kathy, you are safe here. I am not going to let anybody come in and harass you guys. Like, we just don't do that here. We don't engage in the drama. This is a neutral place for people to come hear about cases. This channel is not, about me. It's about these cases. And I want people to be able to get along and chat, even if you're in chat with somebody else that you may not care for. If they're here to listen to the case and they're respectful to me and to my mods, and they're not here to cause any problems, then I want people to hear about these cases. That's what is important to me. And I appreciate that I have really good mods that will not start arguments with people that they may not like or that they disagree with that come in. But if you come in acting reckless and a fool, you'll get escorted out of here with a quickness, because we don't have time for the bullshit. And that's pretty much it. It's cut and dry. Like, I'm not here to play games. And I just want to say, I rebuke this foolishness. That's what I'm going to tell you when you come in acting a fool. And that's it. Period. And also, I will probably get out my Not Today Satan chlorine bleach and clean house. Because this is my channel, and I don't, whatever y'all do on y'all's channel, like, that's cool, that's groovy, but this is my house, and that's not what we do over here. We're all adults over here. There's people that I'm friends with, and we don't agree on a lot of things, and I tell them when they're wrong. They tell me if I'm wrong, but we're still adults, and we still respect each other, and we still treat each other like human beings. And that's just how we roll over here. And you can love it or hate it, but this is how we do. Hey, Paul, it's good to see you. I hope you're well. it's kind of crazy out there right now. But listen, y'all are welcome here, and I appreciate y'all being here. This is a safe place to hang out, and my mods are here. They are monitoring everything, because we're not gonna focus on any of that. So, and there's Mr. Viper. It's good to see you. Don't worry, Viper is here. He's going to protect us all. Viper, I just put you on the spot there, buddy. You think my channel's the safest? Well, I appreciate that, Trixie. Listen, I'm not fixing to sit down and get in an argument with people. Y'all know how I roll. I'm just laid back. We're just here to talk about cases and do the damn thing. That's it. It's so good to see you. How you doing, Miss Southpaw? I haven't seen you in a bit. I have seen you around in some chats, though, but I appreciate you popping over to the channel. Hope all is well. You feel calmer already? Well, Aunt Kathy, we just love having you here. And I'm always glad to see you when we're around in chats. Today, I was over in Rubber Ramada while I was doing things around the house, listening to her cover a case over there, and she's doing a fantastic job. I was so happy to see her get memberships. You released a new album today? Congratulations, Viper. I'm going to have to go over there and download it, because I have all of your music downloaded. I love to listen to your music. If you can share the link for people in chat, I'm sure they'd like to go over there and check it out. If you guys aren't subbed to Lightning Viper, you need to. When I feel stressed out, I'll go over there and listen to his music. He streams his music live, and it's like, it just helps me, get my head on straight. So, well, let's jump into this video that we've got here. Let me take down my little widget. Y'all don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate y'all. This is from WMBF News. And before we play that, I just want to make sure we share our fair use clause, copyright disclaimer, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. We are playing this video because we need all the deets so that we can make our comments and report the news and use it for educational purposes to find out what is going on in this case out of Pawleys Island, South Carolina. And remember, there is a trigger warning content. This is an 18 plus adults only live stream. If you have me on a speaker and there are minors around you, this is probably not the stream for you. There's things that we talk about in this case. We're talking about an RSO. There is a church and a school with minors involved, lawsuits, legal and leadership issues. It's just probably not the thing that you want your kids to be listening to. So I always want to let you guys have that extra reminder before we dip into this, because sometimes you never know what is actually going to be said in these lawsuits. So if we head over here, we have a video, I see. So let's check it out. Probably have a little ad here.
With Hardee's Original Bag, bigger is better. Get full-size face.
My gosh, that is so loud. Holy moly. It like it took me out. I almost went to see Jesus just then. Hey, Harley, what is it, puppy? All right, let's play this ad through. Oh, this is not the video. This is the weather forecast. Maybe they don't have a video on this one. It may not have one on this one. Okay, well, we'll just go right into the article then. As you can see, we're getting some rain coming through. In case y'all want to know the forecast where I'm at. This article actually came out August the 11th. This was at 10:22, and today's date, it is 8:58 p.m. and today is Tuesday, August the 11th. So this article was released this morning, And it starts out here, Georgetown County, South Carolina. The school involved in the Pawleys Island Community Church sex offender scandal has announced its closure. The screenshot below, obtained by WMBF News from former Pawleys Island Christian Academy teacher Allie Osborne, shows the email that was sent. And this is the first page of that email that was sent out to everyone affiliated with the PICA. This update is dated August the 10th of 2026. And it says, for 25 years, the Pawleys Island community has placed its trust in the Pawleys Island Christian Academy, a ministry of Pawleys Island Community Church, to provide a safe, nurturing environment for their children. Oh, excuse me. I did not mean to just tap the mic with my glasses. We recognize the trust in this church ministry has been severed, and that many in our community are experiencing hurt and confusion. And for this, the current leadership of the Pawleys Island Community Church offers our sincerest apologies. Given these recent events, the ongoing investigation, and delays with licensing for the forthcoming school year, we have decided to formally end the PICA ministry. We believe this decision is in the best interest of the community and church. And I could not personally agree more. Let me know in the chat so far what your thoughts are. Continues on to say, we know trust needs to be restored. The current Pawleys Island Community Church leadership is reviewing all ministry policies and procedures to ensure the safety and security of all children in our care. This is our most important priority. Additionally, we are prayerfully considering alternative opportunities to utilize our buildings to serve the community in the future, and will share when appropriate. With gratitude, the Pawleys Island Community Church elders. Are these the same elders that are possibly named in some of these lawsuits that we've just went over the last couple of episodes? I got questions. And it does look like that the news article here with WMBF states that the church also posted the same message on its website. It says the community reaction. Danielle Newton, a former Pawleys Island Christian Academy staff member and parent, was a janitor at the school for 7 years from 2015 to 2021, and her children attended the academy through 2024. I wonder if she knew. Newton said neither she nor her children ever interacted with Perry, but she has been closely watching how the church responds to the scandal. Isn't that interesting that she was a custodian and so was Warren Perry? So how is it that she never interacted with him? Because he was at the church in 2020 and she left in 2021. It seems like they would have ran into each other. And remember when I told you that I looked back through Warren Perry's previous residence? I do want to clarify that. Remember the house in Florida that I showed you that came from Robbie Harvey? I looked into it and I cannot find where his name is on that property. Maybe he has the house and it's in somebody else's name. Maybe it's in one of his attorney's names. I cannot find that it comes back to Warren Perry, but I can find the records that prove that Warren Perry had the condominium since 2016. which supersedes the 2020 supposed date that he started working at the church. So that would put him here in the area all the way back to 2016. It's very interesting. I just find it all very interesting, allegedly. It goes on to say here, when we left that school, we went to 2 other public schools, and they had just ruined us. The public schools did not compare to the love and care and the nurturing that those teachers offered our kids, Newton said. She also said, closing the academy is not enough. She said teachers who spoke out are now without jobs, while church leadership has not been held accountable. The teachers spoke up and they did the right thing, and now they don't even have a job. And they're separated from these kids that they loved. And I feel like the church itself has yet to really feel how much that hurt the parents and the kids and everybody else involved. And she went on to say that real change must start at the top of the church's leadership. She said, let's put somebody in place that can get back to what the church is supposed to be, and that can give them back a safe place. Now, if you guys remember when we went over the last episode, episode 5, the case made it to federal court after the federal class action lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of South Carolina that names the Southern Baptist Convention and its executive committee alongside the church, school, former senior pastor Don Williams, his wife Ginny Williams, the Academy Director Niki Howard, John Doe elders 1 through 10, and Warren Perry as defendants. And so, and that was, that class action suit was the 6th lawsuit that was filed that we went over on our last episode. Lots of questions. I'm going to get the link to this right here, and I'm going to drop it in chat in case you guys need it. Well, if I can copy it. Here we go. I'm going to drop this over here in chat. All right, there is the link to that article. Oh, goodness, it was so long, I think it put it in 2 different things. Oh, my gosh, I don't even know if you guys can get that one. I'm going to erase this one. I don't think that one is too long. I don't know if I can. This may have been because it came from Facebook. I may have to get a different one. Let's see if I can stop sharing my screen for a minute. Let me go over here and look. I need to... Hold on, y'all. I got to clean my glasses. Give me 1 second. I think I have a smudgy smudge, a fingerprint smudge. It's good to see you too, Paul. I appreciate you dropping by and hanging out with us. The link worked. It did work, Cindy, for real? Okay, well, I'll post it again. I would have never guessed that it would have worked. It's so long. But okay, I'll share it again. I think it's because sometimes when you copy a link and that came from Facebook, I think it makes the link like super extra long for some reason. But thank you for letting me know. Oh, got so much. I got hair in my face. Oh my gosh. All right, give me 5 seconds. Let me get something to drink. I'm going to need a lot of sweet tea for this episode for sure. Holy moly. Okay. So now that we found that out about the school, what do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like this is a good thing? Do you guys feel like this is a positive step in the right direction? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, let me know if you feel like the school closing is a positive or a negative. At this point, I feel like it's a positive because with the whole church leadership falling down, I don't think that not having good leadership in the church is going to reflect on the school in a positive way, because nothing has been resolved and these kids could still be in a culpable situation because it has not been resolved. And that's just my personal opinion. But your opinion may be different than mine. You know, like this lady was saying, hey, these teachers don't even have jobs. And these kids were not treated as well as they were by the teachers at this school. And we need this to be resolved. But I'm not sure that this is going to be resolved in like anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? So while I was preparing and taking care of things with my mom, Michelle, which she might be having dinner. I don't see her in here, but she could be listening. Michelle did reach out to me, and I let her know when, you know, I was back and I was available and that we'd be going live tonight. And she let me know that there was another lawsuit that was dropped on Friday. Now we are into lawsuit number 7. I'm telling you, this is just getting started. And the lawsuits are still coming out. And like I said, this is August the 11th. This didn't start until like the second week of July. So I had to add that in there because, of course, we got to talk about these lawsuits, right? So what I did was, and I did put this in Discord for any of my mods that are in there. If you wanted to take a look at the lawsuit, I didn't actually upload the lawsuit, but I can try to share it on my community wall. I think it's 13 pages, but I can still share the timeline just like I have for the other 6 lawsuits, if that is helpful for you guys. So I'm going to pull it up on my phone, and I'm also going to share it here. And we're just going to do a quick highlight of what lawsuit number 7 says. How does that sound to you guys? Let me get over here. I am pulling it up. And then we have 76 pages that I went through on the FOIA from Georgetown County Sheriff's Department. And we don't need to look at 76 pages. There was a lot of copies of people they had sent FOIAs to, like every news station, NBC News, all the local news stations, local newspapers, and including Michelle. I even got a copy of her FOIA in that 76 pages. And I was like, I don't need all of this. This is not the things that I really need in order to talk about this case. So I really had to go page by page and break it down so that we could talk about the important pieces of information that they did send me, because I think you're going to find some of it very, very interesting. The exchanges that the sheriff's office had with other departments and with people in the community, tips, things like that. That was actually disclosed in the FOIA. So we're going to talk about it. I'm trying to get over here to my timeline that I created on this so I can, but I've got to find it in my, I have way too many pictures on my phone at this point. Holy moly. Okay, here we go. All right, let me share I'm going to take the comments down temporarily in case there's anybody that needs to like look at this in totality. I see we got a few people out there watching. So I hope that these timelines are helpful. If you're talking about this case or you want to take a look at this case, you know, please feel free to just give me credit. But I wanted to kind of give a summary of what these lawsuits say to make it easier for people to absorb and understand like exactly what's going on. Because we read through a couple of those lawsuits, and I'm telling you what, sitting here for 3 hours, like reading through a lot of that, it's very repetitious. A lot of it is very repetitious. And so I want to get down to the brass tacks of exactly, what the summons says, who the parties are, the natures of the actions, so that you guys can follow along with this case and feel like you can keep up with what's happening, because this is a lot of material to cover. So when we start out on this, pages 1 through 8, on this timeline summary here, on lawsuit number 7, we're talking about, this is the Pawleys Island case, the Pawleys Island Community Church and Academy versus Warren Perry et al. And in that number 1 slot that we have over here, this summons, they are demanding a jury trial. Defendants are formally summoned, must answer the complaint in writing in 30 days. Now, if you guys remember, if you hop back to a couple of previous episodes, I pointed out that it took Niki Howard quite a few times to get served. Yes, I do post them, Cindy, on my community page. All the timelines are posted. And I will post this one after the live stream for number 7. If you recall, I did point out that the summons that went out that said you have 30 days to respond to this summons, and that you have to, you cannot erase any information. Everything must be obtained as evidence. You cannot delete any files on your phone, on your computer. So we reviewed that in the last episode that we had, and Don Williams has yet to be served. They have tried multiple times, even going to the lengths of going to his son's home down in the low country of South Carolina, about 3 hours from here, and he wasn't there either. So his 30 days are going to be running out, tick tock, on these other lawsuits that he has 30 days to respond to. Because these lawsuits started coming out around July the 20th. Today is the 11th. Don, if you're out there listening, you need to respond. You are coming up on some of these first set of lawsuits where you're named, and that 30 days is going to be running out pretty soon. Where are you at, Don? You need to be held accountable. We don't know. This is number 7. It just came out on Friday. So I guess, we just have to watch and wait and see, Hannah. Now, the parties that are identified here in number 2, the plaintiffs are John and Jane Doe, the parents of minor child that is labeled DEF in this lawsuit, and others that are similarly situated. And this is brought individually as a class action on behalf of children and parents, as well as this individual. Now, the last one that we went over that was filed in U.S. District Court, that was also a class action lawsuit, but it was also filed on behalf of their minor child. So we have seen a little bit of everything. We saw an initial class action for $25 million that did not have any minor children named, no Jane or John Doe named. Then we went into lawsuit 2, lawsuit 3, lawsuit 4, and those actually named John Doe's and their parents. Then we had lawsuit 5, that was also another John Doe. Then we had the number 6, that was a class action, and there was a John Doe civil as well as a class action suit that was filed in lawsuit number 6. And now we have another civil lawsuit, but it's also a class action. It gets complicated. It's hard to really keep up because not every lawsuit has the same parties. Not every lawsuit has the same natures of, well, they pretty much do have a lot of the same natures of actions, but not all of the identified class action versus civil is not the same in every. So that's why these details are very important, because there is a difference. Is everybody following along? We're good? Let me know in the chat. Oh, you're welcome, Cindy. All right, we're hopping over here to number 3, the nature of action. Now, the class action based on defendant's negligence, recklessness, and wrongful placement and protection of an RSO, and the concerns repeated unrestricted access to minor children at the Pawleys Island Christian Academy, the school. And I believe that this may have been the icing on the cake for them to come to this conclusion as of today, to decide that they were going to close the school, because they know they've messed up. Number 4, duty and breach. The defendants held themselves out as a safe place and owed a duty to protect children, because regardless of them having ecclesiastical law, they also fall under secular law. And with secular law, they are running a business and they are licensed as a school. They knew or should have known Perry's criminal history, because they were supposed to be doing background checks. And remember, we did review the DSS reports. There were 3 reports over a 3 or 4 year period where DSS wrote them up and said, hey, you're not doing the proper background checks. You need to get this in check. What disappoints me the most is that DSS didn't hold them accountable and shut them down after they didn't follow through with it. They waited 6 more months, and then after that 6 months in 2024, they waited till 2026 to go back to tell them again that they still weren't doing their job. What happened to 2025? Did y'all just let that fall through the cracks? That you got questions. I got a lot of questions about that, and I just want to know, is DSS going to have an answer for that? Because I'm sure that will come up in court, and I cannot wait. I will be on the edge of my seat to see how that's going to come out. And also under duty and breach, we have breached duty by allowing him daily access to children. So that summarizes number 4. If we hop over here to number 5, we're talking injury and harm. And this basically summarizes that the minor child DEF that's listed in the parties identified under plaintiff was exposed to a convicted and registered sex offender. Parents and children suffer emotional, psychological, and developmental harm being placed in this situation, and the full extent of harm may never be known. What happened to DEF while he was there at the Pawleys Island Christian Academy and Church. And if you guys have not watched the other 5 episodes, I encourage you to do that, because there is a lot of information, and you're going to want to see the timeline, how this all began. You're going to want to watch it from jump, because there is a ton of information. And just a shout out to Michelle Macklin, my best friend, my admin of my channel, my sis. She is my best friend, and she is the FOIA queen, and she helps me obtain all of these documents, and I put them all together. And it's the me and her show. Yeah, this is what we do. So a big shout out to Michelle. I appreciate you grabbing up all these documents so that I could do all of this. Sorry, I had to cough. Okay, so now we're jumping over to the jurisdiction and venue here in number 6. And the court has subject matter jurisdiction under South Carolina Code 14-5-20. Personal jurisdiction established over all defendants, and the venue proper will be Georgetown County, South Carolina. She does rock, Hannah. She's awesome. I hope she's feeling okay. She might be busy. And we also have number 7, legal basis. Claims are based on secular, neutral principles of law. No First Amendment bar to adjudication. And secular duties include screening, supervision, safety, representations, reporting, and disclosure. This is their legal basis for this lawsuit. And then we have relationship and duties. And here is that outlines defendants accepted custody and care of the children. They owed non-delegible duties to supervise, protect, and safeguard, and heightened duties were due to the vulnerability of young children. And they should have been aware of all of this as they were proceeding to take care of these children and give them an education. They were supposed to be protecting them as well as educating them and keeping them safe. And of course, here at the bottom, this just outlines, of course, again, the plaintiffs that's bringing the suit, the defendants, which is Pawleys Island Community Church, the Christian Academy, Pastor Don Williams, his wife, Ginny Williams, Niki Howard, the 1 through 10 John Doe elders, and Warren Spencer Perry. Now, in some of these other lawsuits, remember, they did name the South Carolina, the Prison Pardon Parole Board, the PPP, they got named. The Southern Baptist Convention got named. That wasn't in every lawsuit. So that's why it's really important to have these timelines, because not all the plaintiffs are the same in every lawsuit, and not all of the defendants are the same in every lawsuit. Of course, here is the summary of the key actions, which we just went over a lot of this in this page 1 through 8 timeline summary, along with that key harm. And so we're going to talk about the prayer for relief as we go into these other timelines. Now, here on timeline number 2, this is pages 9 through 15 of the lawsuit. And of course, it does go ahead and repeat the, hang on, let me look here. Oh, that's 16 through 25. It does repeat the jurisdiction and venue here again. And it talks about on page 10, the neutral principles and ecclesiastical bar, which is very important in this. The First Amendment does not shield negligent operations. The courts may apply neutral principles of law to this case, and safety, supervision, and faith-based duties are secular legal matters. That is what when we're talking about the neutral principles and ecclesiastical bar. Because just because they're functioning under a church, they can't just say, well, we're a church and we can invoke our First Amendment right to not have to do blah, 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 or such and such and such because we're a church. No. You have a responsibility, because if you're functioning as a school, you're functioning in the secular community, and there are laws that you must abide by. And this is extremely critical to this case. And it's very important to me because I'm a member of this community, and I know lots of people. I have friends that live in this community. In fact, the Duke actually spoke to someone that attended the church, and they had no idea, y'all. They had no idea that any of this was happening. And they are horrified that all of this has happened. Trust and believe there are people in the church itself that we have talked to that are absolutely horrified, and they are demanding justice. Now, if we move on here to page 11, everybody following along, let me know in the chat if you're here watching. Show me a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys being here. And if you're catching this on the replay, don't forget to like this stream and share it out because we're sharing factual information. Hello, Bare Minimum VV. It's nice to see you again. I hope you're good. When we jump into page 12 here, the summary of this is the notice, knowledge, and failure to act. Of course, this also reiterates what we've seen in previous lawsuits, that Warren Perry was convicted in 2022 of the sexual exploitation of a minor. The Church Academy leaders knew of the conviction. Teachers raised concerns. Defendants ignored and silenced the warnings. They actually have 2023 listed on here, and that's not correct because he was actually, well, no, it was 2023. Yeah, because 2020, I think it was 2023 that he was found guilty on that. I was thinking that was 2022. And yes, the church and academy leaders were all aware of his conviction and still allowed him to work and volunteer around children. It's never a good situation at all. We jump over here to page 13. This talks about the factual allegations as to minor children. The children were enrolled while Perry had access to them. Parents were not disclosed. The risks that Perry was working there and that he would have access to their children. And the children were exposed to a registered sex offender in a trusted environment, such as a school or church environment. And we're jumping over here to page 14. If you see my arrow going in circles, I don't know, can you guys see my mouse on screen? I hope you guys can. On page 14, the immunity, recklessness, and multiple occurrences. This is another charitable immunity does not bar recovery. And we saw that actually mentioned in the last lawsuit as well, although charitable immunity was not mentioned in every lawsuit. The alleged conduct was reckless, willful, wanton, and grossly negligent, and each act constitutes a separate occurrence. And then if we jump to the last one here on page 15, this contains class action allegations brought individually and on behalf of all the situated children that are involved. And they are basically saying one part of this is individual on the behalf of John Doe DEF. And there is also a child class in this same lawsuit, which is all minors enrolled or present when Perry was authorized or permitted on campus in that 6-year window. So it's really important to make sure when you're looking at these to differentiate how these lawsuits are very different and what they're asking for. What I can tell you is they're all asking for 30 days to respond in writing. They're all asking for a jury trial, and they're all asking for prayer for relief for punitive, compensatory, medical counseling, emotional stress, cost of attorney fees, and such on and so forth. That's pretty much the consistent things that I've seen across the board in all of the lawsuits together. And remember, this is lawsuit number 7. So, of course, here at the bottom, again, we have the plaintiffs, defendants, actions, claims, and the prayer for relief, which is just what I named, the compensatory damages, punitive damage, medical cost, counseling cost, emotional distress, not just to the child, but also to the parents, cost for attorney fees, and other such relief as the court or the judge and jury deem necessary. And of course, here at the bottom, it says core allegation out of these lawsuits. Defendants knew, defendants ignored, and children were put at risk. You think it begins with neglect? I don't think you're wrong. Pride cometh before a fall. Anybody who is supporting something like that, I mean, it's not something that I'm ever going to get behind. So if I would have known about it, I would have absolutely called it out right in front of the church. Make no mistake about it. I have a big mouth, and I would have blown it out of proportion if that had been in my church. I probably would have gotten kicked out of church. I'm not going to lie. That's probably what would happen to me. So I'm glad it wasn't, that I wasn't there, because I'm telling you, it'd have been a mess. Let's hop over here. We're going to get to this. This is the final page of lawsuit number 7 that was filed on Friday. And this just breaks down the class definitions. We talked about the child class would be all the minors that are enrolled or were present at the academy when Perry had access, which would be 2020 through 2026, according to the Georgetown County Sheriff's Department. The parent class right here is all the parents who paid tuition or mandatory fees during that period of time that Perry was employed or volunteered with the church. And the exclusions under class definitions, the exclusions are the defendants, their families, officers, employees, and claims requiring abuse adjudication. And of course, class action requirements are the numerosity, hundreds of members, joinder, impractical, the common questions, the duty, the knowledge of Perry's status, breach, misinterpretations, exposure, damages, and of course, claims are typical. Class action is fair, efficient, and necessary. And that's what they have to prove, that this is a typical situation for the grounds of this lawsuit, and that they have shown adequate information in the filing of this lawsuit that would meet the requirements of the class action. And then we jump over to pages 18 and 19, what this case does not cover. And it doesn't really cover not adjudicating or releasing individual claims for the abuse, the physical injury, the medical expenses. Those claims remain preserved for each individual child and parent to pursue separately. So if there is another child that they specifically think was harmed specifically, those parents would have to file an individual lawsuit for the individual claim to be paid to the individual. Does that make sense? Oh, good, Elizabeth. I'm glad that you found her. Yes, I do agree. They kind of run together, it seems like, which is a little scary. Now, if we hop over here to pages 20 through 21, the summary of this is the second cause of action is that negligent hiring and supervision. And of course, we talked about that. That is the duty to screen, do background checks, hire, train, supervise, and monitor those that have access to children. And this was clearly breached by failing to check Perry's background. And the PPP failed also by failing to supervise him, to fail to act on previous complaints, and that Perry posed a foreseeable risk of harm. All right, we're going to jump over to page 21 and 22, which is right here. We're second from the last on this timeline spreadsheet here. And that third cause of action is the breach of fiduciary duty. Defendants, as educators and custodians, owed the highest duty of care. And they breached this by concealing his status and prioritizing their own interest over children's safety. And this resulted in consequential damages to children and parents. And then we skip to this last one here, pages 22 and 23. The fourth and fifth causes, fraud and unfair practices. And the sixth cause is reckless distress. And the summary of this is that fraudulent misinterpretations about safety and screening to induce enrollment in the school, because had they had known there was an RSO there, nobody would have enrolled and paid money. So they want to be refunded the tuition also. You can imagine the cost. My sister teaches at a Christian academy in another state. And I'm telling you what, we're talking about in the upwards of $20-some thousand. Oh my goodness, you lost power. Are you okay? I know y'all were getting some bad storms out that way. It's been raining here too. Are you okay? I'm so glad you got power back. I hope all is well. I was like, it's Michelle might be busy. I don't know where she's at. I hope everything's good, Michelle. Back to this last slot here. Also, they violated the South Carolina Unfair Trade Practices Act. And they recklessly caused severe emotional distress to children and their parents. So that is the summary of that. And of course, here again, you can see plaintiffs, defendants, actions alleged, key harms, and that prayer for relief. Yeah, they want, in this, they also list that they want compensatory, statutory, and punitive damages, prejudgment interest. I thought that was interesting. I have not seen that listed on another lawsuit, but it was listed here in lawsuit number 7, prejudgment interest. They also listed findings for plaintiffs on all counts, class certification, because they want this one to go down in the books. They also want restitution and equitable relief, which that would include the tuition, and attorney's fees, costs, and expenses, and of course, as we had reiterated before, such other relief as the court deems just. Any questions? Fair Minimum says it's in male's nature to be a rageful predator. Taming it is an expression of masculinity. Well, to each their own, I guess. I guess that's one way you can look at it. Never really thought about it like that, Bear. I mean, some people have to get their morals and ethics from somewhere. But I think somewhere along the road, some people, I don't know, they lose value in that. They drop those to the side. They want to hang on to it when they think it makes them look good. But then when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of the person that they really are at their core, it's just like holding a shield for nothing, because they're not really that person. And I don't think all men are like that, because my husband's not like that at all. So, yeah, I understand why parents chose homeschooling. Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that, for sure. For sure. Again, I rebuke this foolishness, because this has gotten crazy. We're on 7 lawsuits. My question is, how did they actually think that they were going to get away with this? Like, how long did they think this could go on? I'm actually shocked that it went on for 6 years. I mean, let's be honest. I'm actually shocked that it went on for that long. What do y'all think about it? I mean, are people just, I mean, there were no signs. I can't believe, it's not like just one person knew or 2 people knew. There was a lot of people that knew he was an RSO. That's like a conspiracy. That's a criminal conspiracy to purposefully hide that you have an RSO around kids. Not one person, not two people, not three people, not five people, but more than 15 people knew. What? That don't even make sense. I'm shocked too, and that's why we got to look at these documents that was sent by Georgetown County. Michelle, you weren't here earlier, but the Pawleys Island Christian Academy closed today. And I didn't know if you saw the article. So I wanted to make sure that I showed that to you. I will put it in the Discord, but I did drop a link that was way too long for the chat, but it was on WMBF News, and we read that article together at the very beginning. But I guess when this lawsuit came out, they decided they was going to have to, shut it down. So I just wanted you to know. It is disgusting. Cindy, they said that there was going to be more arrests, and I'm wondering if it's going to be these other elders that are involved. Because I understand they're all quitting and running away too. So I think at this point, anything is possible, right? I mean, let's be honest. So I want to get into some of these documents that we're going to be looking at. Let me put myself over here to the side again. Precisely, Miss Southpaw. What's done in darkness gets brought to the light sooner or later. Yeah, that's in with anything. I mean, I'm not trying to be out here judging, but let me just say, I'm probably judging. It's just too much. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm looking at out here. 6 years is way too long. I agree, Aunt Kathy. Michelle says those elders should not have remained a doe for this long. I agree. I mean, we're talking about little kids. We're talking about 5-year-old kids. Do y'all remember that one lawsuit we read and I about fell out after I read what I read in the lawsuit? I was so angry. Oh my word. And that's why I have to tell y'all, trigger warning. I don't know what's going to be in some of these documents, but actually in these next ones, I do know what's going to be on the screen. So let's just jump into it so I can just show you a few things, because I think it kind of just gives us a little information about what was going on with Georgetown County Sheriff's Office. So let me grab a quick drink. I will be right back. My throat is dry, so I want to get something to drink before we get started on it. So y'all just hang on one second. All right. Bear, it's the world we live in. Sadly, it is the world that we live in today. That's why we got to keep our head on a swivel. All right, so I'm going to jump in and just look at a couple of these documents here. And they're not in really any order, but what I did notice about the FOIA, like I said from before, is there was everybody's FOIA request. I could see well, they did have their phone number redacted, but I could see their address. I saw Michelle's FOIA. I saw other sheriff departments, all the news stations. There were some private people who had requested a FOIA. I don't know why the sheriff's office sent me all that, because I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Like NBC had requested body cam footage. Michelle, I don't know if you requested body cam footage, but NBC did. I read every single document. I read all 70 pages. But there was a lot of documents that it doesn't have anything to do with the case. I guess she just copied the case file and just sent anything that had something to do with it, And so I was like, well, I don't need all the news stations, like the journalist from the Sun News. I've talked to her about Tyler Doyle's case. Like I know her, I have her phone number and all that. So I was like, we don't need this. Let me just see what some of this other stuff is about. So I want to share that with you because I think some of it's pretty interesting. So I may have to transform some of these to make sure they're in the middle right here. And let me get over here to my phone so I can look at these with you guys. I think I'm going backwards. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay, on this particular document right here, this is apparently sent on an iPhone. You can see it says, no, this is not the right one. This is from Heather. Let me find that one. Mine is a little bit out of order here than what I have it on here. Mine's all out of order on my phone from how I uploaded it on here. So let me get to this one. Okay, here we go. This is just a letter. That says, she's sending it to someone named Deborah saying that she has attached the story so far. And she says she thinks that the sheriff, this is the sheriff's department, this is the grants media specialist for the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office, responding back saying, I think the sheriff is going to add a lot as well, but we're going to work on his part Monday. Could you share this with Mr. Coggin to see if he and the Damascus House Board approve the parts about PICC? Also, could you let him know the sheriff would like to take another photo on Monday, sometime after the CALEA meetings, the CALEA. And he says he'll give as much heads up as possible, but we're not sure how long his portion of the certification will take. And I thought this was a very interesting information because I found out that Deborah was somebody at the church. And I'm like, what does this have to do with the Damascus House Board? Why is this in the file? Well, come to find out, it looks like there was a couple of years that they held some type of law enforcement thing at the church. And I guess that is, they want to know how the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office interacted with the church over the years that Warren Perry worked there and what the relationship was like with the church before that. And I guess that's why they included this letter. And I just wanted you to see that because I thought it was very interesting that they included this in this letter. Now, Jim Coggin, by the way, the Damascus House is if you're not sure what that is a faith-based addiction recovery ministry that is in Pawleys Island. And guess who leads the Damascus House, y'all? Because we're talking about that this is the sheriff going there to do whatever he's doing, helping the Damascus House, helping the church. This is the sheriff helping the church. The Damascus House chairman of the board, well, it's none other than Don Williams. And I'm going to have to pull that up because you won't believe it unless you see it yourself. So let me go over here and pull this up on my laptop. Oh, they took it down off the Georgetown County page. They used to have an article up called New Detention Center Program Helps Inmates Battle Addiction. And they took it off of their Georgetown County government website. You have to be kidding me right now. Say it ain't so. Let me go back over here. Quit it. I got to share my entire screen because I may have to flip-flop back and forth through these tabs. We got to do some investigating, y'all, together. You see this article right here? I'm sorry, but there is not a web page matching your entry. Custom 404. That's an error message, y'all. Hello. Georgetown County. They took down the article. But you can see here it says New Detention Center Program Helps Inmates Battle Addiction. It's a nonprofit, gospel-centered drug and alcohol addiction ministry that addresses the root of the behaviors, the trauma, the experiences. Why did they take that article down, y'all? All right, let's look at this article from 2025. Oh, we got it here, the Georgetown Times. This article is from the Georgetown Times. A jail-based rehab program wants to expand into Georgetown County Church. Neighbors are worried. Let me go over here and look at this chat, y'all. I got to see what y'all are saying. Thank you. I'm telling you. Hey, Jason. Let me get back over here. A jail-based rehab. Neighbors are worried. That is not good for a title, y'all. Come on. What are we doing here? A substance abuse rehabilitation program is looking to expand into the Georgetown Baptist Church building. Remember, this is from just a little over a year ago in 2025. The Damascus House began as a ministry, y'all, in the Pawleys Island Community Church 3 years ago. So 2025, 432. So that would have been in 2022. It uses a curriculum from Dunklin Memorial, a 62-year-old faith-based rehabilitation center in Florida. Now, I don't know nothing about this rehab center in Florida. May have to do some investigation. The program was implemented at Georgetown County Detention Center last year. In January, the program expanded from a 3-week program to a 12-week structure. It includes 26 weekly program hours with evening worship and celebrate recovery sessions. A big brother, little brother, mentoring system has also been established. Does anybody on this page see a red flag? I'll wait. Hey, Too Worried Mom, it's good to see you. I put my red flags. A big brother, little brother mentoring system has been established. I get worried. I get worried about these things. The first thing that says to me is kids are involved somewhere. I don't like it. Don Williams, senior pastor at Pawleys Island Community Church, said the goal has always been to expand beyond the detention center into a facility that could serve a greater number of men. That could include recently released inmates who need or want to continue the program while incarceration, although the details have not been formally established, according to the pastor. They just have a heart to help men who are in addiction to break addiction in their life and really to become disciples of Jesus Christ. I'm just curious, Don Williams, is one of those addictions children. I mean, I'm sorry to be so blunt when I say that for anybody in chat or listening to this on the replay, but he also said this about Warren Perry, that Warren Perry had asked for forgiveness for his, his addiction, his whatever he had going on that makes him do the things that he was doing to minors, and that he was saved from it, and that he had changed his life. Is that why he was still not doing it? I mean, is this a mind game at this point? And how do we know what these? Surely he's not going to bring them into the church with the kids, though, right? Because how do we not know what's in their background too? I mean, this seems like a whole nother situation. And this started in 2022. I wonder if Warren Perry had anything involved with the Damascus house, because it's interesting that Georgetown County Sheriff's Office submitted that little tidbit of information about the Damascus house and Jim Coggin in my FOIA. I mean, I just got questions. I mean, they're just questions. No accusations here, but I certainly have questions. So Georgetown Baptist Church offered to give its building to Damascus House because its membership has dwindled and the church is going largely unused. And some community members think Georgetown Baptist is too close to homes for it to be used as a rehab center. She worries about people from the program wandering into neighborhoods and causing problems. And as a mother of 6 kids, she's concerned for kids living in her community. She said, "I'm like a nervous ball of mess. That's what I feel like I'm going to be. And I think any mother would be. I think any parent would be. And it's just not fair for the community." Meanwhile, Perry has already 2 years under his belt as an RSO that has not been convicted, but he's working at the church, y'all. This is 2 years after Warren Perry has been arrested, but not found guilty yet, because he doesn't go to trial till 2023, is already at the church. Does anybody find this to be strange? Because things are, I mean, there's patterns here. You got to look for the patterns. Kathy, that's exactly right. He said he changed his life, but he just changed his mask. This right here, they knew exactly what they were doing. Bringing these people into the community. Can you imagine? Odom received over 100 signatures on a petition for them to find a new location. He says he understands the concerns. The Georgetown County Planning Commission is set to hold a public hearing to make recommendations on the rezoning on June 26th of 2025. I just felt like it was interesting. But Don Williams is the chairman over the Damascus house as well. Here is their website right here.
I love you, babe.
I love you too, babe. This is a different one because that's not him on there. Oh, here we go. Oh, This content isn't available right now. You don't say. Huh. Well. Ding dong bing bong. Isn't that something? What you doing, Harley? Hold on a second. Let me go check on the pup. Okay, she's good. I just feel like that is really strange. So that everything about them has been deleted. I wonder if that still even exists. Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting thing that I needed to bring up because nobody said anything that he was running a whole addiction house for inmates. Wow, Cindy. We don't have them anywhere in our town. All of the rehab centers that we have in this area are back away from, like, they're not allowed around residential areas, or I've never seen them around. So okay, sorry about that. Okay. All right, I gotta shut my door. Hang on 1 second. This hubby's going to bed. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, Cindy, we don't know what he was doing with that, because how do we know that the people that are in that sober house are also not RSOs? I mean, are they background check those people? Because if you have them near residential areas and playgrounds and schools, that would be another reason why they can't be there. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the zoning meetings were so important, because all the zoning meetings for those rehabs where we live have failed. And that's why they're in the locations that they are, because they're not allowed to be around schools and churches and things like that, because of people who attend those houses. If they have an RSO history, they are not allowed to stay in any of those places if they are in like that. So, but I mean, all things considered, we have to take that into account, because you never know who's going to be staying there that's coming out of jail. We have to look at all of those things. So, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so we can put this next. I just thought it was interesting that was one of the first things that was actually sent over to me, was about that. I had no idea there was some type of rehab thing that was supposed to be going on that he was also presiding over. If he's doing dirty stuff in the church and at the school, that wasn't on the up and up. This is just my opinion. So, oh, okay, Cindy. I can't say I even know where there is one around here, to be honest, of either. I think there's one out in Little River, but it is out in the country. It is not really up here around a lot of the residential areas. I'd have to figure out where the lighthouse is. I think that's the closest one that we've got here in our area on this end of the beach. All right, let's pop over here and look at this next one. I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I'll be able to read it to you better. I don't know what happened to my organization of my little files here. All right, on this one, this was actually sent from an iPhone, the one I thought I was pulling up previously. And this message says, made contact with staff at PICC who showed me the office of the janitor. No explicit photographs seen in the office. Janitor's office is also significantly away from all of the other buildings. Mr. Warren was not on site at the time of my visit. Spoke with the pastor who stated he has never been allowed to be alone with any children and that everyone who works there is aware to not allow this to occur. Probation and parole has stated that they will be advising him to not go back there as a volunteer anymore. Starting tomorrow when they meet, this will be confirmed. Now, on this particular message, it did not give me a date. So I'm assuming that this all popped off in July of 2026 because this is in regards to them looking into the Warren Perry situation. So I'm assuming that this happened sometime in July, even though there was not a date on that. Two Word Mom says, most likely they didn't do background checks on anyone. And remember the minister that said he didn't have to notify others? Well, you see my point. I've got so many questions right now. I don't even have words, honestly, at this point. Nothing is going to shock me from here on out. I feel like I've seen it all at this point. So that was interesting that this particular message points out that there were no explicit photographs that were found in the janitor's office. And it does say that his office is significantly further away from all of the other places, and that obviously Warren Perry was not there when he went to go visit. But that is when the pastor said to him that he was never allowed to be alone with any children. And this was also on a body cam. Now, I don't think Michelle received the body cam footage from them, but there was body cam of when this statement situation right here occurred. And I have seen footage of it floating around of Don Williams answering those questions. And of course, that's when parents started sending in pictures of him with their children that was taken at church. And that's how that got uncovered. So I thought that was very interesting. I know, Aunt Kathy. Well, he's in jail now, so we shall see. All right, and on this particular one, this is a message to AICPV, and it says the sheriff's office is actively investigating PICC and the school within the church to include the elders and leaders and their knowledge of Perry's probation. I am seeking to work together on this situation to be able to attend the search of Perry's residence because they issued a search warrant. And I would like firsthand knowledge of any findings. That way I can provide my facts to the sheriff We are conducting interviews with teachers, parents, and interviewing the elders of the church. And from what I understand, AICPV works with the Parole and Pardon Board. And of course, this is from Sergeant Eric Holtzback, and he is a senior investigator with the GCSO. I thought that was very interesting that this is kind of, I guess, their process of how they're coordinating what they need, because these people have a record of where he was arrested and where he was found guilty and where he was held, what his probation was. They need all of those records to establish the timeline of how all of this is laid out. And one of the next pieces that I had here, let me see. This was actually a letter from Warren Perry. And I'm trying to put my finger on it right here so I can read it to you. Oh, here we go. Good morning, Sergeant Powers. First, I just want to thank you again for your kindness. I think of you often as an example of the kind of person I am working very hard to become. Also, the church yesterday registered the red Dodge Dakota to them, so it's no longer a vehicle that I have. Have a good day, and it even better holiday season. Thank you, Warren Perry. That last sentence did not. Spelling is critical in situations like this. It's should have been and an, A-N, not I-T, even better holiday season. Isn't that an interesting little letter to the sheriff? Or to the sergeant at the sheriff's department? But he had to stick that in there. I think of you often as an example of the kind of person I am working hard to become. I mean, that is exactly, Cindy. He was part of the fundraiser. Yeah, he was part of the auction. That's exactly right. I know, Aunt Kathy. It's scary. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I hope everything's okay. And that your Wi-Fi and your power stays on. Aunt Kathy said, you can bet in jail he is being more protected than the children ever were. Yes. And that makes me sick. I think they should put him in gym pop. For sure. Too worried, Mom. Duchess or Michelle, has the probation officer been charged? As I can't recall if you said he was yet. He has not been arrested. But there is a lawsuit that names the South Carolina Parole and Pardon Board in the lawsuit. I believe that was lawsuit number 5 that names the South Carolina PPP, but there has not been a probation officer that has been arrested and charged yet. But I will keep you posted because, I mean, it could happen. And that was on that federal case. What'd I say? 5, 6, whichever one was the class action that was filed in the district court. Yeah, that would be 6 because today is 7. Y'all, I can't even keep the lawsuit straight at this point. Yeah, that would be 6. Yeah, I think it's the federal case. Because the other one names the Southern Baptist Convention. So, oh, you're welcome, Mustang. I just think it's interesting to see, like, some of this information that they're getting? Cindy, I don't know. I can't make it make sense, except for that some people protect predators because they're also one too. That's the only way that in my mind I can make it make sense. And that actually scares me a lot. But here he is writing a letter to Sergeant Powers, trying to kiss his butt, and then remind him that the truck that apparently used to belong to him is now registered to the church, and wishing him a good holiday season. I mean, this guy makes me sick. What? All right, let's hop over to the next one. I hope you can't read this one. Let me cut my banner off. There we go. Let me find this particular one. Okay, this one is from Maricino, which is a senior investigator also with Georgetown County. Yes, Aunt Kathy. Right, Mustang? Mm-hmm. It is. Oh, I hear it thundering outside. The PICA investigation remains active, according to this document right here. PPP is currently conducting forensic extractions of Perry's digital devices and will provide investigators with a copy of the extracted data for review upon completion. SLED agents assisting with triaging interviews, follow-ups conducted for individuals calling in, and providing tips through social media. Assistance to continue tomorrow, along with synopsis and total number completed. Search warrants obtained for devices in our possession. I'm currently working on the ICAC team provided by Solicitor's Office for processing appropriately. And Warren Perry's familiar with the ICAC because they done been to his house one time in 2020. Lieutenant Griffin was notified of elders wishing to make statements with legal counsel. Interview logistics are currently being discussed. The evidence management in early stages with priority in electronic evidence. And this right here, the point of this that I wanted to show is that digital forensics matter. Digital forensics are paramount. Getting a search warrant for his phone, for his computer, to his iPad, to his, if he's got a Kindle, whatever devices that he has, they need to be able to look at all of his devices. The forensic evidence is so crucial because you can piece together timelines with that, and there's no telling what they might find. If his last arrest was in 2020, what's he been up to since 2020? Because I'm telling you, if this comes out in court and there's more stuff going on, all hell is going to break loose. Now, this just talks, it wraps up, Investigator Maricino wraps up that the case continues to call triage and update information. They're trying to consolidate all their interviews, recordings, and supporting documents, and that they will update as this progresses. Wow, it is thundering bad. I hope if I lose connection, guys, it's because we're getting a bad storm. I hope power don't go out. Two Word Mom says, like I have said, so many people fail to protect children. We may never know how many children were abused. I know. And that is one of the saddest things ever. All right, let's go along and see what we've got up here next. This is, looks like this is a short email that came through from a senior investigator with ICAC. And this basically just says, hey, I heard through the grapevine you were prosecuting the Warren Perry case. I'm not even sure if it's still active for you, but I was just going through some old ICAC stuff when I inherited, when this other person left and stumbled across a hard drive full of evidence collected from all the items seized during the search warrant of Perry's house. Is this something I need to get to you? Yeah, you daggone Skippy, you need to get it over. And he's from the CID, the senior investigator with the Human Trafficking Task Force. Because apparently they had a lot of stuff on him. So yeah, it is really starting to thunder boom boom here. And I thought that was really critical because I know that the ICAC is all over this. And I guarantee you they're looking into every single person they've arrested too. And I'm sure they're checking their digital devices. I don't know if Lightning Viper is still in here, but he could tell you that there's a really good chance that they are doing digital investigations on every one of these people. Because you don't know, and somebody's protecting somebody like this and keeping this from parents and members in a church school environment. What are you hiding? Why would you protect somebody? Do you have something that needs to be protected? What do you know that's going on? These are things that I'm really interested in knowing the answer to. You know what I mean? I do hope a thorough investigation gets done too. And I'm hoping because this guy has been caught in this predicament, and considering that the South Carolina PPP also looked the other way, I mean, there is a lot of negligence that's going on here. A lot of people not doing their part. And unfortunately, there's a price to pay. So I just think it's really important, you know. All right, so now this right here, these next few slides that I'm going to show you comes from Winslow Law. Some of these little details right here that I'm showing you in some of this. And these are pretty critical. And I'll tell you why. It's because they reached out to Winslow Law to let them know, hey, I'm securing this search warrant, and I need you to know that there's a search warrant regarding the Pawleys Island Church. And let me find that one. I believe that one might be up here. Here we go. Search warrant regarding Pawleys Island Community Church. Reach out for any concerns. Thanks. And this is from Investigator Marciano, sent to Tom Winslow. And he is an attorney that is representing the church. Okay? PICC. So if we go to this next slide right here, find which one I'm on here. Some of mine are out of order here. I have to pull it up to read it, so give me 1 second. Here we go. This one right here is a response back. And Anthony Marciano says, I believe a timeline consistent with Mr. Perry's involvement with the establishment would be more conservative onward. And it would also be more sufficient. And if there's any particular issues involving some records, we understand there may be delays. And that's because in a previous statement, he was like, that's a lot to ask for. Well, yeah. I mean, you should have thought about that when your client was doing what they were doing. And that's why in this one right here, he said, I know it's a lot. I appreciate the efforts to make this seamless, and with good faith, don't hesitate to reach out further. Yeah, because he was complaining that he didn't want to have to go through all of that. And then, of course, down here he says, thank you. I'm starting in the morning, sir. Because he knew he was going to have his hands full. There's another screenshot on here. This one right here. Actually, I think it might be this one. Hey, Harley, it's okay, baby. I know you don't like the thunder. No, that's not it either. Let me find it. It's this one right here. This one says, sir, if you want every record for 29 years, it is going to take longer than one day to try to locate what they have. Thank you for understanding, Tom. Well, duh, Tom. We all know it's going to take more than 24 hours. All right, Lightning Viper says, yes, digital forensics can pull things deleted up to 10 years. Computers and devices leave fragments, what we would call fingerprints or detailed pathways to recover information. Thank you so much, Lightning Viper. He says, digital forensics are incredible people. The sheer level of tech available to police and investigators is beyond imagination. That's why I think they're going to be checking more than just Warren Perry's devices. I think they're going to be checking the pastor and some other people that are at the church because, well, you just don't ever know what's really going on. Come here, puppy. It's okay, baby. May have to go get Harley a CBD treat. She does not like the thunder. I don't know if y'all can hear it thundering. I got my ear muffs on, but I can still hear it. All right, so I thought that was very interesting that they had this back and forth, letting them know, hey, we're going to need everything that you can tell us about the elders, the members, the finances, whatever you got going in the church. And he says 29 years of stuff. That's going to take more than a day. But the sheriff, confirms, hey, I appreciate you doing this. We just need everything that you can give us because we have to do our due diligence. We have to get this taken care of. So let me get to this next screenshot. This is, and like I said, these are all out of order. This was, remember when we were talking about that Damascus house? This was another piece that Georgetown County Sheriff's Office included in this FOIA about the church and the Sheriff's Department. And this starts off with, good afternoon. After reviewing the paperwork and doing the walkthrough with you, I believe you have done a great job for the assessment for the security of the church. At this time, I do not see any need to change what you have done or add any additions to it. Let us know if we can be of further assistance. And this is signed Chuck Weaver, Georgetown County Sheriff's Office in Georgetown. And what predicated this email is at the bottom here from Jim Coggin. Remember, he was helping run that Damascus house. And this is dated October 18th of 2022. And it says follow up on PICC threat and vulnerability assessment. Good afternoon, Chuck. Again, thank you so much for helping us at Pawleys Island Community Church with the threat and vulnerability assessment for our NSGP application to SLED. Just a couple of things. Is there anything I need to do to help you complete this assessment? And did Bob, the NSGP program manager at SLED, give you any advice on a past, in quotes, best practice? That's pretty interesting, best practice. In terms of format and content on the assessment submission. Number 2, I expect to be asked soon by Senior Pastor Don Williams when to expect the assessment to be completed. Our objective is to have it completed before mid-November. When do you think it will be completed? Thanks for all you're doing to help us submit an excellent application for this NSGP grant. We had a site coverage and high priority controlled access doors to be completed by early November. Take care, Chuck. All of us at PICC appreciate what you're doing to help us out. Thank you, Jim. I don't know if Viper knows what a threat and vulnerability assessment for the NSGP with SLED is, but I'm really curious now what all that means. Oh, they absolutely should check everyone's devices. I absolutely agree with that. You can hear it now? Yeah, it's thundering pretty loud. That is the nonprofit security grant program for anyone curious. Interesting. So the sheriff has to come out and do some type of assessment for the church for them to get that? I mean, that's pretty interesting, Viper. I just found it very interesting that they included all of this in the FOIA that Michelle got, because I was trying to put it together. So you want to explain? Do you want to come up on panel and explain? Or do you want to explain it in the chat? You want to explain it in the chat? Or you want a link? I'm really afraid that I'm going to lose connection because it's storming so bad. If we lose connection, I'll try to come back. If I can't, then we'll pick it up tomorrow after the storm's over. Just tell me what you want to do, Viper, because I'm very curious what all of this means. Because again, Hagen ties back to that Damascus house, which launched in 2022, 2 years after Warren Perry is already, oh my goodness, already at the church. Do y'all hear that? Oh my word. All right, I'm going to let you come up and talk, and I'm going to run downstairs and get my dog a CBD treat. So let me take this down and get you up here. Hold on one second. I'm going to drop this link in the chat, or I'll just send it to you. I'll send it to you on your email. On your text. I'm coming, baby. I'm going to get you a little treat. Yes, it's okay. Y'all, my dog is freaking out. Hang on. I know it, baby. I'm so sorry. Oh, my word, y'all. Okay, I sent it to you. You hear it? It's bad here. I mean, the lightning. Yes, baby. Come up here. Come here, baby. Come on. Yes, it's okay. You want to get under the table? Y'all, I'm good at when Viper comes up, let him talk to you guys, and I'm going to run downstairs and get Puppy a little CBD treat so she can sit between my legs because she's scared. And I did send that to you on text message. Oh, no. It's okay, Harley. If it gets worse, Cindy, I might have to. She is fretting. I'm going to try to go get her a CBD treat, but I'll wait for Viper to come up. And then maybe he can talk to you guys for a few minutes, and that'll let me run downstairs on the second level of my house, because that's where my kitchen is, and I need to grab that from downstairs. Duke has already gone to bed because he has to get up early in the morning for work. So, but I appreciate y'all being patient, and I'll wait for Viper to pop up here. If I start getting glitchy or something happens, let me know. Oh, here we go. Hey, Angelo, thank you for coming up.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Is it okay if you talk to everybody and let me go run get Harley girl some CBD treats? She is freaking out over this thunderstorm.
Yeah, you're fine. My dog does
Okay.
the same thing.
Oh, she's so pitiful. Okay, I'll be right back. Give me 5 minutes. Talk to the people.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, NSGP is like it's a security level grant from local law enforcement agencies, and some states have it where they're basically, you have to be a nonprofit, you have to be cleared through like DHS and FEMA and things like that, and you can get grants for providing services to the community that the law enforcement or prisons may not offer. It's kind of like a release program, but you have to be cleared through several agencies and inspections in order to be able to qualify for applying for those grants. And they basically pay tons and tons and tons of money, which are funded by FEMA, DHS, and other law enforcement agencies through fundraising drives or through other funding policies that are set up from the state level. They use this money basically almost unfiltered for the most part, other than the clearing of the security levels that you have to do, to fund like drug rehab programs, domestic violence shelters, domestic violence rehabilitations. They integrate animal training, like dog training, things like that, for what's supposed to be considered low-level tiered criminals that are considered redeemable in the court's eyes. It's a ton of money. It's billions of dollars when you add it up across the country. So hopefully that gives you guys an idea. So yeah, the NSGP is a nonprofit security grant program. Not every state has one, and not necessarily called that, but they have something similar to it. There's supposed to be a ton of background. Hello, Aunt Kathy. Questions, comments, concerns? I don't see any questions. That's good. All right. I'd sing you guys a song, but I don't want to torture you. It covers a period of time. So basically, the agency that's trying to get the grant will submit a program, either a 3, 6, or 12-month program, which is due for renewal in those time periods. A lot of the agencies develop what's known as handshake. And that's basically where relationships are developed from the nonprofit and local agencies, local police, and they get so familiar with each other that they, I don't want to say purposefully overlook things, but they have a speedier process of approving people to be acceptable for the grant program without actually doing the actual deep dive that needs to be done into the programs. For example, the home I was in, St. Aloysius, in the early 80s, late 70s, at the time they were receiving about $35,000 per kid per year. Up until it closed this year, I believe they were receiving about $35,000 per month per kid. So let that sink in. Money is a very causatic. What is the word? Causacious. Something causacious. It's a very determining factor in motivating agencies to adapt their programs to receive additional funding that maybe the church doesn't get alone from its parishioners. So they develop other programs or create other programs to get grants or to get access to special funding programs from agencies that ordinarily can't sustain it themselves. It's supposed to be public. Hey, Cindy. It's supposed to be public information. Anything that's funded by the government is supposed to be public information. So you can contact your local law enforcement agency and see if they have any of the SLED. Now, a lot of people think SLED stands for law enforcement, but in this case, it stands for state, local, or education purposes. So education, ED. So SLED is state, local, and education, SLED. And NSGP stands for nonprofit security grant program. So those two things, they're going through state agencies. State agencies require inspections from law enforcement or from DHS, or if it's disaster related, FEMA. But at the end of the day, DHS is what's signing off on it. I wouldn't be surprised if DHS's signatures or agency logos aren't on one of these applications with this agency, because they're depending on the lower agencies to perform their tasks that they're supposed to perform. So they're trusting whatever the law enforcement who completes the inspection is telling them. The problem comes in oversight. So if the law enforcement agency is friends with a particular church or a particular pastor, there is some friendship stuff going on, quid pro quo, I guess you could call it. And if you look at the government, the way they're looking at waste and fraud, this would be one of those examples of waste and fraud, because they're basically just signing off on something without actually doing the investigative work that would go behind investigating the agency to determine its factor of safety for housing a program that could be detrimental or beneficial to persons who are either addicted or in domestic violence or predators or whatever. And the other thing that you have to understand is they are supposed to be background checking, FBI background checking everybody affiliated with the agency prior to approving them for the security to apply for the grant.
And they obviously weren't doing that.
No. So there's a lot of problems with, like, I've been following your story for the most of it. And the problem isn't just at the church level. Again, it's similar, it's reminiscent of St. Aloysius, where a lot of agencies that were in place for oversight kind of didn't do their jobs. They just kind of signed off on it because they either knew the entity that was in charge or was attempting to be in charge of the program, and they just went with it. And that kind of seems like a similar case here. And unfortunate for them, and now we're in 2026, that kind of stuff doesn't flow well anymore. So that stuff's they're going to get caught in the backlog. So, and this guy's probably in hiding for the most part. The main leader of this organization, he's most likely in hiding. Like Father McIntyre fled to a state that, even in the United States, we have states where it's very difficult to extradite them from one state to another because the states have protections in place. So he's most likely not even in the state. He's in the state somewhere where it's going to be, or a country where it's going to be somewhat difficult to extradite him. Because the writing is on the wall from what you've been showing and what you've been posting and reading. The evidence is very heavily in the favor of the victims.
Right. And it was said he's not supposed to leave the state.
I bet you. Yeah, I bet you he did.
Yeah.
100%.
Everyone has answered their summons except for him.
Yeah. And he's the leader. Or he's a leader. See, here's the thing. He's not the only failure. The church is not the only failure. Based on these investigations that are supposed to be done, the state failed. Based on these investigations that are supposed to be done, the police failed. So there's an epic failure here at the judicial level with the judges, straight on down to the police that allowed this to happen. And they allowed it to happen either out of negligence or they just didn't give a shit, you know. And that's the case with a lot of cases like this where there's so many victims. And right now, what are you at? Seven victims so far, or seven families?
7 lawsuits. The first one was a class action that's supposed to represent all the parents and children, but then you had 6 subsequent lawsuits. Another, there's 2 more class actions at the very end, but they're a class action / also a John Doe that's included in that because they have an individual child.
I got you. Is there a number attached to the first class action? Like how many people signed on to it?
No, they want 25 million, and there's no.
It's
over 100. That's all I know.
100 people.
Over 100. It's
over
100 plus
people, right?
Over 100.
Yeah. So that means that there's probably more victims because it's a period of what, 26 years, 20 plus years. Just
6 years.
6 years? No, this place has been around longer than 6 years.
Yeah, it's been around 29 years. And remember, there was another youth pastor back in 2005 that was also accused of being inappropriate with a child at church. He was arrested, and his charges were dropped, and he moved to another part of South Carolina and became a pastor. And from what I understand, Tripp Atkinson is now a lead pastor at a church in Georgia.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say: the same thing I said in St. Aloysius, which is follow the money and follow the inspectors. That's where you're going to find the ball that dropped in this particular. I would almost venture this has been going on longer than 6 years.
Hey, CapEx. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a great night. Yeah, I definitely would think so too. And then remember also the pastor's son, when he was 17, actually sexually assaulted a female that was younger than him at the school, and he was allowed to continue at the school. And after he pled guilty and was charged as an adult, and he also got to continue to play athletics at the school, and she ended up dropping out of school because he would make these faces and interact with her at school, and she began to fail, and then she just quit school altogether. And the mother fought tooth and nail for almost 3 years against Georgetown County and Waccamaw High School because they took the side of the perpetrator instead of the victim to protect her.
Oh yeah.
And so this is Pastor Williams, like first little dip toe in the water into some nefarious stuff. This is his MO. And so when I heard about the Damascus house, I was like, all of this feels wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just appreciate you just coming up and explaining that, because when I saw these attached to this FOIA from the sheriff's department, I was like, what's really happening here?
It sounds like there's a good attorney digging for the right info.
Yeah, because the sheriff's department gave this to us. This is from Georgetown County Sheriff's Office. Like, they gave us this information. And
Well,
it included,
somebody's looking for the right info. I think somebody's looking for, if I was the attorney for the victims, I'd be looking. The best way to hurt these people is take their money first, and then take their freedom. And the way you take their money is you go after the big dogs that are giving the money. In this case, it's the state. The state has been funding systemic abuse of children, whether knowingly or unknowingly. The thing that people don't get when I talk about abuse of children is this: if you are in charge of children, if it's your duty, whether you're CPS or DCYF or institutions that house children who have like psychological or mental issues, you as the agency do not have the luxury of getting it wrong. You have to get it right 100% of the time. And I know that seems callous to say, but we're talking about innocent children that do not have a voice, because these agencies aren't listening to these kids. Even today, they're not listening to these kids. They just see a child with issues. So they don't factor in their decision-making process. And unfortunately for the children, that means the decisions are being made without their input or despite their input, which means that the person making that decision is 100% liable for what happens to that kid, whether directly or indirectly.
hey, Dragon.
Period.
Right.
And that's where I stand on that. And I guess because I'm a survivor, I don't know. I just, like, when you're dealing with the commodity of children, the future of this world, you have to get it right 100% of the time. And if you can't get it right 100% of the time, step aside and let somebody else do it that will. Period.
And I agree with Cindy. When a background check comes back unfavorable, our agency has the discretion to allow or not allow the person to volunteer. It always goes before our board.
Right. And I'm sure the board, based on what I know about Cindy, probably releases it to your patronage. Because at the end of the day, if your board says yes, but your patronage says no, you have no funding. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and that's the other thing. I remember you saying something about there was a pastor that said they didn't have an obligation to report something to their parish. No. Just because you're a 501c3 doesn't mean you're not that you're immune from being a mandated reporter. So if you know that you have a predator or a pedophile working in your organization, whether it's because you allowed it or because somebody above you allowed it, and you're not notifying your parishioners or the people that patronize your organization, you are 100% as guilty as the person that they allowed. Sorry, not sorry.
Well, I can't disagree with you there.
Your first duty is to protect children. That is the first duty of every human being on this planet. Protect children. And if you can't do it, get the F out of the way.
I agree. And that's why I had questions, because they were dropping these little hints like, hey, we approve them for this. The sheriff was in with the, Chuck Wright was approving stuff for the church. And I'm like, how could he be approving these things if they weren't even running background checks on people? Like, how can you get approved for that?
Therein lies the question. So who should be looked at?
Well, the sheriff's department also.
Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't the sheriff's department approving it, maybe if they were just signing off on it and somebody above them were approving it, then that agency, you got to trace it from the beginning. Who submitted the application? Who did the investigations? What did the investigations uncover? Who did the approval? Where did the approval go after that? And who sent the first funding check? That's where it needs to go. You need to follow that line right down to the end. I guarantee you're going to get to the state level of the district attorney, almost guaranteed. You're going to get to the district attorney's office or their version of a district court or Supreme Court level, because they have to go through all of that. At some level, it has to be approved at that level because it's state funding. The state governor, the governor or the lieutenant governor dictates and directs through their cabinet and through their members their leadership, who gets the funding and where the funding goes and how much of the funding goes. From there, it goes down to the next level, which is the state, local municipalities. They divvy out the money from there to their agencies. And then from there, it goes to the sub-agencies, like in this case, HUD or beautification projects, road maintenance, whatever. And then from there, it goes to the police stations, where the police stations have funding for programs like drug rehab or ticket forgiveness, et cetera, et cetera. And then from there, the local, organizations like the churches and the food pantries and what have you, they'll apply for these grants based on an application process, which is what the NSGP is. That's the application process to apply for the grant. That's where you're putting yourself out there saying, these are who we have working for us. These are our goals and our missions. This is our nonprofit status with the federal government. And this is our idea for a program that we want to do for people who are children without fathers or daughters without mothers or drug rehabilitation or emotional support control mechanism, whatever program they're creating. And they're going to create, in that program, they're going to create a director, a leader, a member, and a facilitator, somebody who's going to be doing the classes or doing the groundwork as it is for recovery or whatever. And then they submit all of that to the police. The police job is then to investigate those members straight down the line. Everybody that's going to be involved in this specific task that you're applying for the grant for. They should go, it's typically a 40-year background. Should be a 40-year background. It should be a fingerprint. It should be an NCIC. It should be a warrant check. It should be a child abuse background check. Everything under the sun up to 40 years. And then there should be an interview process if there's discrepancies or things that don't make sense, such as job history or financial constraints or something that could make you susceptible to not completing the job correctly just so you can get paid. All of those things would be underquoted. Now, it based on what I saw of you show of that application process and the statement back from the officer that approved the application, I didn't see any kind of process like that. I saw the guy just taking the word of a man saying, yeah, we have all this in place and we're good. What else do I need to do? And the cops basically just saying, again, I don't see the whole picture, so there may be some kind of investigation I'm not aware of. I would look into FOIA.
Well, and DSS, DSS, Department of Social Services, 2024, 2 times they had to come out, do an assessment and say, hey, you're not doing the proper background checks. We're going to have to follow up. But then that second time they came out in 2024, they never came back out again until 2026. Why?
Again, failure.
And I'm just waiting for DSS to be called into this at some point, because in my opinion, if you don't fulfill that within the X amount of days, I went to school for social work. That is not how it works. You just don't let something go, and then when nobody complies in 2 years, you go back and check on it. That's not protocol.
No, what should have happened is immediate suspension of funding, immediate security background of all members of the organization, interviews of all members of the organization. Where were the discrepancies? Where were the issues? Investigation of those issues. Anywhere from 3 to 6 months is what that should have took. And then an evaluation and a vote should have taken place between the state and its elected officials to determine if the relationship for the grant is going to continue with that organization based on, again, look at it like a business model, weigh the pros and cons, the business aspect versus the cost aspect. What are the dangers of letting it continue forward, knowing that these discrepancies existed and doesn't appear to be anything substantial that is correcting those deficiencies? Is it worth the legal ramifications that could take place, knowing what's going on in this world and knowing where we are today in 2026. Is
Yes.
it worth moving forward in a relationship with this organization, or has this organization become a liability? And if it is determined that it's a liability, it should be publicly noted for all to know on a
Yes.
government bulletin board. This organization standing with our grant program has been rescinded due to deficiencies that make it a vulnerability detrimental to the state's interests. That's exactly what we have to shame them from start to finish when they're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And if there's
And
not
it's
a
a
law
shame.
in place that does that, then we need, as states, we need to get with our leaders and say, listen, this is what's happening in North Carolina or South Carolina or Florida or whatever, and we need to have things in place to prevent it from happening here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I appreciate you just coming up to explain that to us, because now it makes so much more sense. Because, I mean, this is mind blowing, actually. I mean, when I read that, I was like, what is really going on here? And I thought it was very interesting, too. And a couple of these documents right here, this person right here, this is DSS. And they're writing to say, hey, I'm confirming that, and this is the person from, they're confirming Pawleys Island Christian Academy is a registered faith-based child care facility, and that the director is Niki Howard and is owned by Pawleys Island Community Church. And this is a child care licensing specialist with the Division of Early Care and Education with South Carolina Department of Social Services, the very people who were supposed to be ensuring that they were doing background checks.
So here's my first question. If you're DSS, why are you needing to confirm the Christian Academy is an operating daycare? You should know.
Because you should know, because you've been out there 3 times to tell them that they're not performing their duties.
Now, I can't lay all this on DSS as much as I'd like to, based on my own experiences with
I'm not saying it's just on them.
What we call DCYF in Rhode Island. However, it is a woefully underfunded, overworked, underregulated agency. And considering the nature of their business, I find that very concerning. When your sole purpose is the safety and well-being of children, you're overworked, you're understaffed, and you're unregulated. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, and here's the other page to that. This is where Matthew with the Georgetown County Sheriff's Department responds, yes, I will work on that today. And then DSS responds, I want to get a copy of that police report. Thanks.
What police report?
This is from 2026, when Warren Perry was arrested because he had violated his probation because he was volunteering at the church, and he got told on.
So pause right there. That DSS worker is asking for a police report.
Yes.
Did that DSS worker shut that place down pending the investigation?
This was on the 17th of July.
Did they shut the place down pending the investigation?
No.
Pending the report? No.
They did not do anything.
Again, if you're a DSS worker and you're asking the police for a report and you haven't shut down the place that you're asking for a police report pending an investigation, they may come back clear. Who knows? All I know is you have an agency that says that they're a daycare, that has criminal charges against them, that has a police report against them, and you have not shut them down. That is, again, another epic failure. So while they're open, they still have the chance to harm more children. That's a problem. And the reason why we need stronger laws. We need stronger laws that make it so hard and so scary to do criminal things to children that it makes people think twice. Instead, what we're having, Dutch, is a bunch of people who are not taking it seriously enough, and giving these people room to continue to be predators and pedophiles, and or move to different places and do it all over again with unsuspecting people. Because a lot of these agencies don't intercommunicate. Like DSS in South Carolina, they don't do it like the DMV. Like all the DMVs are connected, right? If you get your license suspended in one state, the other state knows. It should be the same thing with DSS. They should be interconnected agency that communicate with all 49 of the other states.
I want to show you this.
Sharing information. Is it going to enrage me?
Maybe. Well, this has to do with what you were talking about before. This is another email that I got that was submitted with this from Coggins, and he is he's with the Damascus House, and
Lieutenant Howard and Master Sergeant Weaver.
Yeah, so thank you for your time and assistance as I seek to schedule the NSGP Vulnerability Risk Assessment for the church by the GCSO as recommended by SC NSGP Program Manager Bob Connell at SLED. And see here, SLED is South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, but you said that it could mean something else.
It stands for state and local. It's state agencies, which could be police, local, which could be
when
state
you can see here,
municipalities.
he says SLED, Office of Homeland Security here at the bottom.
Yep. So DHS.
Yep. And this is where he's asking, here's my files. The original August 15th, 2022 email to Bob Connell requesting assistance, his response, the Houses of Worship Vulnerability Risk Assessment, the justification, the allowable versus the unallowable cost, the grant for church security systems fact sheet by Jim Coggin, and then the proposed action plan, which is getting that risk assessment scheduled. And then I guess Chuck Weaver went out and did it.
And by the way, that risk assessment covers abuse against children.
That was one of my questions. What was involved in, this assessment? Because it seems like this would have triggered somebody looking into this situation before it got this far, and it was missed.
That's what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
That's what it's supposed to do. So this is where they're basically looking at the risk to children or to the persons receiving services based on the employment of the people that work there and their historical data, which is why these agencies are supposed to be involved and supposed to be thorough. This Robert Connell, PhD, this guy's a doctor. Is he working with the church or is he working with the...
It says he's with SLED, Office of Homeland Security.
So this is a guy
Robert
with a
Connell?
PhD. Most likely it's most likely it's a psychological doctor for PhD. He's probably the psychological analysis guy for their version of DHS.
I agree, Hannah.
I'm assuming, I'm assuming he's probably psychological. He's probably got some kind of psychological degree or human services doctorate, which would make sense for his position.
Elizabeth says, how many days action plan?
So the typical action plan is upwards of 0 to 30 days. So depending on the severity of the issue, you have 0 or instant report, issues that could arise up to a 30-day report window. That doesn't mean you have to wait 30 days before you can report. It means the report process can take up to 30 days based on internal investigations of the agency itself doing its own investigation and an outside agency doing a follow-up or a more in-depth investigation. So an example of that would be, let's say I was running a group home, and I had employee A, B, and C with 7 resident consumers. Consumer 1 says employee B touched them inappropriately, and they report it to staff C. Staff C then makes a report about staff B to house manager. House manager then evaluates the report. This all takes place within 36 hours or 3 days. House manager then takes that report, evaluates the measurement of the complaint. It gets the risk factor 1 through 10. The higher the risk factor, the more agencies you have to get involved. A number is then called, typically a national report hotline number for reporting abuse or neglect of persons vulnerable in institutions. That agency then opens up a report, and they assign caseworkers and psychological analysis and psychological evaluators to then interview both the victim and the accused. From there, if it's determined that police need to be involved, police are then contacted. This happens between the 36 to 196 hour window. Once police are involved, if they're involved, they'll determine how far up the chain that has to go. That can take up to 30 days. By the end of the 30 days, a final report should be written by all agencies and combined into one report and sent to the state for the district attorney to evaluate to determine if charges need to be brought, if the report can be downgraded, or if standards need to be changed, or if consequences have to be imputed onto the agency itself in addition to the person that was accused. So there's a process for everything, and that's part of that risk assessment. So all of the agencies that are assigned or involved, based on your municipality, based on your organization, and based on your standing and what you're doing as an agency. So different rules and different laws will apply to you. Like for residents where you have vulnerable individuals versus a facility that vulnerable individuals come to but leave at the end of the day. There's different standards, different practices, and different regulations that you have to follow. Hopefully that makes sense.
It does. It does. And I know it makes sense to Elizabeth because she's worked in the system and she understands a lot of this as well. And for me personally, I'm just having a really difficult time with how DSS missed all of these assessments, finding that they were not doing the background checks, and then they let that slide. But also that you had the sheriff's office coming in to do this risk assessment for their grant status. And
DHS.
And DHS. And it's still getting overlooked. That is truly a serious concern.
It's a damning flaw, and this is coming from a guy that works at DHS. So, I mean, that is an epic failure, and the only reason why you know about it is because victims were brave enough to come forward. So now you have to ask yourself, where is this happening where the victims haven't come forward yet? Where else is this happening? Where else are these failures going on? And until people start asking questions, making demands, and getting things changed, we won't know.
Well, I think these lawsuits are going to get some people's attention.
They need to be spread across the country. What happens here in this lawsuit, what's happening here at this facility, needs to be shared with every other state and every other agency, because they need to start opening their eyes. These predators are very, very, very convincing, and they're very good at what they do. You and I have both seen it on this platform for years now. They're very good at what they do. It doesn't make them good people. It just makes them very good liars.
Yeah, the manipulation from these people.
Epic.
Yeah. And we've seen epic proportions of what people do on social media. And, you know, given that Warren Perry has this background in software, I mean, he's worked for Dun & Bradstreet. He's worked for companies that are based out of Ireland, France, Germany, making medical software, data software. We're talking about intricate things. Like, I'm sure he thought he was above the law and he could hide it, but then he got caught. But did he really learn his lesson? Only time's going to tell, because they're going to check all of his devices, and we're going to have to wait and see, because I'm sure that it's going to come out. You know, because I'm sure and I did see that there was a search warrant. And that leads me to one of the, I thought this was a very interesting one. This was one of the next ones that I was going to read through, and then we'll probably have a continuation, because there's a few more that I want to share. And I want to also be able to share some resources with people that are watching this series about how we can protect children. And Viper, if there's any information that you can share with us, or if there's graphics or anything, I do have some from Nick that I want to share on my next live stream. But if there's any information or links or things that I can talk to my audience about, or if you would come back and speak to us about some of these resources and why we need to share these things out and why these resources are important, let me know, because I think it would be really helpful for other people that are out there, you know, because we have to keep our head on a swivel.
Let me comment on Bear's comment, because actually brings a good point here. The whole system is compromised. Don't you feel like it's in a box of sorts? That's exactly. I hate to say this, and I'm sorry if people work for DSS or DCYF or whatever you call it in your state. I'm going to just put it out there because this is how I feel. I believe that these organizations have turned into a sort of legalized way of collecting children and collecting money. I mean, just point blank, these kids are worth tens of thousands of dollars a month to each agency, each kid, tens of thousands of dollars, and they're very defendant of their security over those kids. Like, these are our kids. It is our agency's problem, nobody else's. And that's the exact wrong attitude to have. If you're dealing with these kids and you're an agency like DSS or D, whatever you want to call themselves, your job should be to maximize the amount of support that you can get that child from anyone and anywhere, so long as the sources are monitored, cleared, and checked, so that we're not having predators infiltrate a system designed to protect children, but are actually harming them. Because that's where places like this place, where St. Aloysius comes from, where St. Mary's comes from, they stem themselves out of this facade, this mask, this protection. We're a church, we're a holy organization, we're this, we're that. And they're given these caveats because of that status. And in the process, we're harming our children.
Yes.
And when you seclude them to a singular agency, you're still harming that child. Your job, your duty, is to get this child to adulthood with the best resources available to them that keep them protected, get them educated, and prepare them for a world that is vastly different from the world we grew up in. That is our goal. And that should be our goal. And if every agency isn't doing that, then we are failing.
I agree. Now, this piece that we got in the FOIA from Georgetown County Sheriff's Office was very interesting, and I want to read it to you, and we'll kind of take it by sections, because I do want to hear what you think about it, Viper. And chat, I want to see. I'm watching the comments, so I want to see your responses. This first section starts out by saying, the child of the mother who was observed yelling during the church meeting. Remember, I told you that Pastor Don Williams held a meeting at church to announce that, yes, Warren Perry was working there, but they had it under control, basically. And that's when all hell broke loose in church. So during this church meeting, that mother, that has been referred to the Children's Recovery Center, the CRC, and has completed a forensic interview. During the interview, her child disclosed witnessing Perry alone in rooms with children on multiple occasions. The child also stated that Perry provided a bicycle to one of the children. At no time was there indication Perry performed sexual acts on the child. Then it went on to say, the forensic interview at the CRC involving the child who was reportedly taken to the bathroom by Perry is scheduled for Friday, July 24th at 8:30 a.m. Investigators also made contact with, and that's edited out, at the church to obtain the elder meeting minutes. No organizational chart exists for PICC or PICA.
All right, pause right there.
Okay.
So that is a process that is supposed to be part of the investigation that they went through. They're supposed to have an organizational chart of all of their groups and all of their organizations that they're going to perform. So the fact that they don't have that led, and you could tell by the ending of the sentence, indicates elders may have a minimized role than initially thought, meaning they provided them some sort of a thing that showed this is their role and this is their purpose. But the reality is that wasn't their role and that wasn't their purpose.
That's scary. And then it goes on to say Perry's financial advisor was interviewed and advised that he served only as Perry's financial advisor and attended the church. Current statements indicate rumors of Perry's involvement with the new building that they were building at the church are unfounded and are corroborated by donation lists acquired during Sunday's search warrant. We were advised Perry has a sum of money from his prior work and 401k, but is not in the realm to facilitate large levels of investment. Bond court held for all defendants. Perry's have been denied, with others receiving amounts totaling $25,000 per charge. Immediate steps to take are facilitating electronic review and processing the evidence. The vast quantities of interviews, statements, and OSINT need to be sorted and analyzed to compare with statements made. Incoming calls from the public are being triaged through the front desk, with lists being provided in the morning to CID for follow-up in a timely fashion. The PPP investigators, that's the Pardon Parole Board, those investigators have been in contact for collaboration involving their agency and Perry's court hearing for the initial probation revocation. The investigation remains active and additional updates will be provided as new information develops. And I thought that was very interesting. So,
that means the shit's getting real.
Oh, it is. It is definitely getting real.
So everybody got a bond except Perry, but yet Perry's out?
No, Perry's still in jail.
Okay.
So yeah, Perry's the only one. Everybody else got a bond. Yes.
I wonder why Perry didn't get a bond. That's interesting.
Well, I think he should say. as long as possible, forever.
Oh, I agree, but I'm curious because I've seen worse people than him get out in bond. So
Yeah.
there's something that's not being released in the FOIAs that
Yeah,
we
it just
don't
said
know
it
yet.
was. Yeah, it just said that his bond was revoked.
Okay, so typically what that means in my opinion, that means that they have reliable testimony or evidence that he has directly harmed a person.
Hey,
It's the
Clues
only-
Queen.
It's the only reason why I would see him not getting a bond.
Is it because that's part of his, if he violates probation, that he has to stay in for X amount of days? Or
Yeah, he has to stay for the rest of his wherever his original sentence was.
because he took a plea to get out, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So, we've seen that
Well-
happen with somebody else on YouTube.
We sure have. I'm not even going to
So,
go there, but yes.
He took a plea, this Perry guy, and then he broke that agreement. So, and again, I'm saying they have evidence. So somebody has something on him, or has testified against him, and it was credible to keep him behind bars. He hasn't gone to trial yet, right?
No.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's foobarred. If the state does what they're supposed to do, he's foobarred. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the state's gonna throw everybody under the bus to save face. But at the end of the day, they still face a lawsuit because they failed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was a couple of other ones in here, and some of these are actual notes from parents that wrote in. There's a couple of 411 tips that actually came in to the sheriff's office, and I thought it was interesting that they decided to share those with me. So I'm going to share them with you. This is a tip that came in on their tip line, tip 411. And this says the subject is Warren Spencer Perry. The group, it went into Georgetown County Sheriff's Office, and there's a code for the tipster conversation. And the message said, Mr. Perry is currently volunteering at Pawleys Island Community Church during the week doing groundskeeping. This would be innocuous if PICA did not run a daycare and child development center during the week. Mr. Perry's routinely working near children, which is likely a violation of his probation, being a convicted felon of child sexual exploitation in the 3rd degree. And then they actually give the link to his South Carolina governor parole, pardon, release services offender link right there. And that's what you see here in blue that you can click on. And then it says location, Pawleys Island Community Church. And so that is one of the tips that came in. There was another tip back up here. And let me see if I can find it. I think this might be it. Yes, here is the other tip. And this tip, subject, Pawleys Island Community Church to the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office. And the message said, maintenance was in charge of Perry. Don stated this in his lame speech. I guess that was at the church. And elders, please, please don't stop. Location, Ocean Highway. Thought that was interesting that they gave those to me.
It sounds like this guy, I guess, it sounds like the elders were trying to stop it.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
they didn't have as much power.
Well, that could be true. That could be true. Because I'm sure if they went against the pastor, they would lose their position and would not be able to attend the church. So they, in order to stay there, they would have to comply. Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, it's a criminal conspiracy that's happening.
Oh, 100%. Everybody's trying to save themselves right now.
And this message right here is from a person that says hello to whom it may concern. I was a teacher at PICA last year, And if you need any information regarding the case with PICA, please reach out. I am not in the state, but I would love to do my part and share anything and everything that I know to be of help in any way. Thank y'all. God bless. And that was sent to the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office, and CID contacted that person. So,
Perfect.
and it also has other mothers and parents that reached out to say, hey, my child attended. I was there. There's another teacher that actually reached out in some of these documents. There was like 5 or 6 different reports that came into the police department stating, hey, I just want to let you know I'm a mom, I'm a parent, I'm a member of the church, whatever it may be. My husband actually spoke to a couple of people that attend the church when he went out for work last week, and he asked them, he was like, my wife's talking about this on her YouTube channel, and I just want to know, like, did you have any idea this was going on? And she was like, absolutely not. And she said, we were horrified. And he said, was you at that meeting that went down at church with the pastor? And she said, I'm telling you what, she said, he's lucky that somebody didn't jump on him and knock him out.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I laugh because I have to keep from like wanting to say bad things.
Yeah. Well, here's my a-hole moment. This message that you have right here posted.
Yeah.
So here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
There better be a chain of this from when she was working there. There better be some reports with her name on it. Otherwise, not sorry. She's just as guilty. She let it go on.
That's one of the first things that I thought about. You mean that you're going to come forward and say anything that you know now?
Where were you then?
Yeah, if you're not working there anymore, why didn't you say something before?
And that again, I don't have the full picture, so I don't know if she did or didn't.
Yeah, this is all allegedly, in our opinion.
Looking at that text, it sounds like out of the blue. She's like, hell yeah, I used to work there. I could tell you everything that went on there. For me, outsider looking in, that sounds like somebody wanting to hem somebody up, for good reason, by the way. Wanting to hem somebody up and finding the opportunity to do it through this. Where were you when you had the opportunity to protect these children is my question. And again, that's my a-hole moment. I'll be the a-hole for the day. I don't mind. I'd rather just get that point across because, again, allegedly, if she didn't report it, I'm sorry, she's just as guilty.
I think there's a lot of people that may have known that something was going on, but they just didn't bother to say anything. And y'all, it's 2026. I mean, I say that all the time. If you see something, say something. Don't just walk away, because you could save somebody's life. Even it doesn't have to be a child. It could be an elderly person. There could be something that's happening and you're just going to walk the other direction and not lend a helping hand, make a call to get somebody help. Like, what's happened to humanity?
Yep.
That's just, I don't know. It makes me so sick. And yes, Michelle, I did speak about that earlier, but when your power was out, I have still not seen that they have been able to serve the pastor, and that, that's very telling. Viper thinks he's maybe hiding out somewhere. Maybe he's fled the state, even though he's not supposed to.
If they didn't take his passport or his ID, I mean, what's to stop him?
Well, that's true.
I think he sees the writing on the wall.
And Paul, let me tell you, there was screaming in church for sure that day. There was a lot of screaming in church.
I do have to get to bed.
Okay. Well, thank you, Viper, for coming up. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I still gotta get your book out to you. I'm sorry.
Yes, please do, because my husband says he really wants to read it. He's looking forward to it. So it's no rush. Whenever you get it to us, we can't wait to read it.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Viper. Y'all take care.
You too. Be safe out there.
Okay, we will. You too. Guys, if you want to get Lightning Viper's book, Michelle is dropping the link in chat. This is a newly published book. It's called Surviving St. Aloysius' Home. This is in Rhode Island. This is Lightning Viper's story about what he experienced in his life. And it's a very difficult read. And so, but if you're interested, you could go check him out on Amazon. You can also find All of Lightning Vipers. I think he just dropped a new album also. So if one of the mods want to share his YouTube channel, I invite you to go over there and check his channel out. We really appreciate hearing from Viper. And Too Worried Mom is his wife. That's a mod in chat. So y'all just give them a shout out. We appreciate all the awareness and everything that they do. So you think humanity went out the window with COVID? I was going to say something smart like I plead the fifth, but Fauci already did that 111 times. I digress. He had the bystander effect. I agree, Bear. I agree. Hey, Taylor, it's good to see you. This is the same type of place they... What do you mean? What type of place are you talking about? The Damascus Project? Or are we talking about because we're talking about the Pawleys Island Church school case. Can we send it to you to sign, Viper? You would have to ask him, and you'd have to be extra nice. So I appreciate you guys joining me for this conversation. I just thought you guys would think some of those tidbits that Georgetown County Sheriff's Office dropped to Michelle in the FOIA were very interesting. And some of it was just filled with stuff that wasn't even related to the case. It was just a bunch of copies of all the people that had FOIA, all the documents. And that wasn't really anything that we needed to discuss. But I did pick out some things that I thought was very interesting. I'm still collecting some things for my resources. I'm a little behind because I did have to, go to my mom's and, get her situated in hospice and everything. And, but so I've got a little bit of catching up that I got to do to make sure I've got all my graphics and everything. If Viper has anything, or Michelle, if you find anything that you think would be great resources for us to share, I will definitely do that. Elizabeth, if you want to reach out to your friend, if she wants to come up and possibly share some resources or send me some resources that I can share, that would be great. She doesn't have to come on panel or anything like that. But I want to leave you with something that you can take out away from this channel and use it in your real life. Give it to your neighbors, your friends, other people that you know on YouTube. If you're a mod somewhere and you want to share it with another creator, that's perfectly fine. Because that's why we put out these resources, because we want other people to see them and share them, because we're trying to have some semblance of a community over here on these side streets where my channel is. I don't know about what's going on these other streets. I'm just trying to keep my head above water and out of the crazy, because I just don't have time for it. And it's good to see you, Carl. I don't have any dumplings for you, but I did have chicken and dumplings last night. And I thought of you, Carl. I just want you to know that, because you always tell me that I'm your Southern dumpling. Better be glad Duke's in the bed. I'm just playing. Carl always makes me laugh when he tells me that I'm his Southern dumpling. Thank you, Carl. She's really having a difficult time. And it's difficult when you have parents that are going through this. I just lost my dad. So I have a lot of other things on my mind. So if you guys don't see me around, it's because I'm busy. I just have a lot of things that I have to take care of in my real life. But anybody that is here consistently, you guys know how I roll. You're never going to see me arguing with people on the internet and all that stuff. I'm just not the one. I'm too damn tired, y'all. I'm too menopausal for all that. I might bite somebody's head off. Like my song says, I'll bless your heart and tear it apart. And that's why I got to keep my mouth shut. It's better for me to preserve my peace and just y'all have at it. And I'll just be over here doing my own thing, because we got to talk about these cases. When we're over here doing all this drama, these cases, they go unheard. Missing flyers get unshared. There's justice out there that needs to happen for people that are involved in scandals like this. Corruption, where kids are being harmed, crimes against other people in the community, homicides taking place, missing people that are not being found. On these streets over here, those are the things that matter. And that's the things I try to keep you guys aware of. Also, I'm going to be scheduling another live stream so that we can do that. And I also want to schedule another stream so that I can talk to you guys about some stuff that we FOIA'd on Elena Moore's case. If you remember Elena Moore, that was located deceased. We talked about that case and about her husband, Brandon Slice, who is former law enforcement in Lexington County, South Carolina. I think he's acting as a private investigator right now. And there was a lot of weird stuff going on with that case, but we got a whole bunch of FOIA information that I want to walk you guys through on that case because I think you'll find it very interesting. And, you know, allegedly, I don't know if he had anything to do with what happened to Elena, but Elena didn't fall off that bridge, y'all. Somebody put her body out there. There's just something about that story that still isn't making sense to me. And we're going to continue to follow that case very closely because I hope that investigators are still working hard to look into exactly what happened. Because based on her autopsy results, something just does not add up. And when you see what's in the FOIA about why he doesn't work with the Lexington County Sheriff's Office anymore, I think you'll be a little surprised. Or maybe not, because these are the things that we talk about here on Dutch Girl Podcast. Crime, corruption, missing person cases, court hearings. We do it all. We talk about what's going on in the community in North and South Carolina. I can only cover what I can cover, y'all. And that's what I know the most about is the Carolinas. So I do appreciate you guys joining me tonight for this live stream. Please don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you share this out because we need to get the word out. I'm hoping that this is going to make national news because more people need to pay attention to this story. Because if it's happening in a church here in little old South Carolina town where I live on the coast, I guarantee you it's happening in every state around this country and around the world. We cannot continue to look the other way. We have to protect the kids. And that's what I do in my community is I go out and I stand up for things like this because this is where I pay taxes. This is where my money goes. And I'm going to have my voice, and that's what my channel is about. It's about using my voice to speak out about things that are happening in my own community. I hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday, and I'll try to see if I can schedule something up for the end of this week, and we'll come back and meet again, and we'll just have our drinks and popcorn, and we'll talk about more information that's going on here in the Carolinas. So I do appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to support the channel, I do have a Cash App because my memberships are paused and it helps me to throw Michelle a little extra few bucks for getting all of these FOIAs so that we can talk about these cases. Thank you, mods, for all you do. I appreciate you guys making sure everything's going smoothly in chat, and I appreciate all of the subscribers and the members and the people watching on the replay. It really means a lot to me when you guys pull back through and you're not able to catch me live, and I see that you guys are, you know, checking out the stream and keeping up with the series. It really means a lot to me. So take care of each other out there. Keep your head on a swivel, and I'll catch you later on this week. Take care. Bye, y'all.